which means we've taken the responsibility to address this. And we also prepaid it. I would like to highlight the fact that clearing debt prior to its due time has also been methodically taken up in each one of our budget exercise. That was done in 21-22. And the third step, using technology so that states and center will be clear as to where the money lies, and using technology, they can see the flow of money and see where the treasury is receiving the money for which project, and therefore go ahead with state's contribution and build that. So the single nodal agency, which is for timely release of money and technology driven, so everybody knows where the money lies, was brought in 21-22, which has actually reformed. There are later instances where I'll explain about how that has helped us to see where money is lying idle, and therefore to that extent borrow less, pay interest less. So that has helped in fiscal management, sir. In 22-23, sir, debt consolidation was given a big priority. Strengthening states' liquidity position has been a big priority. I'll just give an example. Railway Minister is just sitting next to me. We've commenced complete financing of the capital outlays of railways and highways from the union budget. So this has lowered the cost of borrowing for railways itself for their projects. And as a result, today we are able to speedily fund their capital investments. We also advanced, and this will be very much in favor for the states, we advanced the devolution date. Every month tax is devolved to the states. For years it's been done on the 20th of the month. We said, why should it go till the middle of the month? Why can't it be paid earlier? So we moved the date from 20th of the month to 10th of the month itself so that states can get it earlier. That was done so that the cash position in the states can be improved. Sir, we also did one more for the budget. Every year you have your budget estimates given during the budget presentation, and the middle of the year suddenly one program loses enough money. They say we need more, so will you raise it in the supplementary demands for grants? Very well. There was a practice all the while to have 3 times supplementary demands. So it had 2 implications. One, your estimates were going for a toss, or your estimate itself was not based on the data which you get from the ground, and therefore we wanted to streamline that. And from that year, 22-23, we have brought in a fairly clear system of there will be supplementary demand, but only twice in a year, so that you are able to bring in a BE which is far more realistic rather than go along the year and keep adding for supplementary demands. So we have brought in that kind of a discipline for ourselves, much more than for anybody, and that is paying adequate rewards. Last, sir, last one, 23-24, sir, we made sure the taxpayers get a relief. So the new tax regime was brought in, and we made it as the default regime, so that unless a person wants exemption, he will be part of the new tax regime. But if he states that he wants to be in the old, he can still be in the old if he thinks he's better off in that. So we brought that in, and we also raised the tax limit, meaning up to certain income that you don't pay tax at all, to 7 lakhs in that year. And using marginal benefit, meaning marginal relief being given to the taxpayer, up to 7.27 lakh, an individual doesn't need to pay tax, was brought in 23-24, which of course this year we have gone up to the level of 12 lakhs. So 23-24 also saw a special scheme for women, Mahila Samman Bachat Patra. We brought it in 23-24 with very high interest for them so that they benefit out of that money. We also doubled deposit limits in senior citizen savings schemes and monthly income scheme. So that way we were continuously bringing changes. And if I come to the current budget, sir, you see the trend continuing, new service and new instrument of service. That is in 24-25, I'm sorry, last budget, the July budget. New service and new instrument of service limits, meaning States, ministries will be given higher limits up to which they can spend. This has been recommended by the PAC, and also we consulted the CAG and we brought it so that departments will have greater flexibility in spending more rather than for small amounts coming and seeking a appropriation from the supplementary demands. So that has given more facility, more freedom for the departments to spend when they have an issue of a priority spending area. This is the fourth time since independence such a review has been undertaken, and we have brought it in this year, in 24-25 July budget. Similarly, one other major reform that we brought in was short-term T-bill borrowings have been drastically reduced. This has contributed for greater liquidity in the markets, in the financial system, so that private borrowers don't suffer. We don't get in, government doesn't get into the market and crowd them out. That situation shall not occur because we've now chosen to have short-term T-bill borrowings drastically cut down. We also did a buyback of G6 for about 88,000 crores. This one single step, sir, has resulted in interest saving of about 5,000 crores apart from infusing liquidity in the system. So other than what we do through the schemes, other than what we give through devolution, for managing the taxpayers' rupee far more efficiently, these are the steps that we've taken, and repeatedly proving to the taxpayer that paying the tax truly is going for nation building. So we have also, in the July budget, shown very clearly that we will have a debt consolidation pathway, and that pathway will enable our government debt to be brought down closer to 50% of GDP, of the 50% of our GDP, from nearly 58% where it is now, 50% plus minus 1% by 31st March 2031. That has been explained in the documents which have been given to the budget document last July budget. So again, if that is the trend through the budget making and the effective use of taxpayers' money, questions were raised if the fiscal consolidation has been at the cost of spending. I think in the brief opening remarks itself, I explained how there has not been any reduction in the money being given to the social sector. It actually balances available money wherever it is available effectively, and that is not cut down. But if questions are being asked about you're giving lesser now, whereas the project demands more, I broadly highlight the fact that because technology is now available for both the center and the states, you can see where the money is lying unutilized. And if that money is utilized, bills are raised, immediately we shall fund the money to the states. Now, whether it is lying in your treasury, whether it is lying in the SNA account, which is for a particular scheme, money is lying, sir. And big amounts are lying in various big schemes across states. I'm not pointing out for one state or another state or the third state. But if money is lying there, it is a money given and many times borrowed money. If it is lying there, am I expected to borrow more money and put it in there and keep paying the interest? Or is it better that you use the money and post that I can borrow timely and give it to you? Or if I have the comfort of my revenue, I can even give it. But that which is lying unutilized today is available for the governments, wherever they are, state or the center, to see and to use it much before demands are made for additional resources. I wouldn't get into reading how much is lying where. It is part of the budget set of documents. You can see it in the budget document which is available, and it is in the annexure statement 4AA. So any honorable member can see which scheme money is lying within their state and use it far more effectively. And that would only make efficiency far more for the taxpayers' money. So, I've already said about the money which is going to the schemes, so I wouldn't take more of the House's time. About growth challenges, I understand two honorable members have spoken. I think it was Sulata Dev from BJD and also Honorable Member Kapil Sibal. So it is a matter of fact, as I said earlier, that there are challenges. There's no doubt about the challenges that not just India, every country is facing. For India in particular, to explain why the Q4 growth was low and why we think it is manageable in the forthcoming quarters is because of the adverse weather conditions which prevailed during the year, excess rainfall in some states, drought in some others, and also the model code of conduct because of the Lok Sabha elections. Most departments could not spend their money in time. As a result, the multiplier was not as much as you would calculate when you spend on your capital expenditure.